My husband got out of prison and swore he was done with his old life. 3 months later, I left him alone with our 9-year-old daughter for 2 days. That night, she gave me our secret signal. "Mom, save me." He regretted everything after that. I've always known stupidity isn't a valid excuse, but I guess deep down I hoped love might count for something. Like a discount for good behavior. Because I did love him. Or okay, let's not romanticize it. I wanted him to be the guy he pretended to be. Someone who messed up, learned his lesson, got out, and just wanted to be a decent dad. Not perfect. Not saintly. Just like a solid C+. When he came home from prison, it was straight out of a bad romance novel. Quiet. 1 duffel bag. That tired face and a dramatic, "I just want a new life" vibe. Naturally, I melted. Our daughter jumped into his arms like he'd just returned from a yoga retreat in Bali, and not, state prison. He got a job, washed dishes, played board games with Ellie, and I let myself believe, just a little, that maybe this time it would work. Sweet, naive me. A goddamn Hallmark card. 3 months in, I had to leave town. Not for work, nothing that glamorous. My mom had injured her back and needed to get to a treatment center 2 hours away. She asked me to take her. 2 days tops. So I left. I made them lunch, stuck a list of emergency numbers on the fridge, laid out the school schedule, labeled the vitamins, basically every mom cliché in the book. And I left with this dumb little flicker of hope that he could handle it. That night, I FaceTimed Ellie. We always talk at night, face to face. That's our thing, eye contact matters. She picked up right away. Smiled. But it was off. Tight. Like her face forgot how to be happy. "Hey, sunshine. How are you?" "I'm good," she said way too fast. Like it was rehearsed. "Where's Daddy?" "He had a toothache. Went to the dentist." Pause. Her eyes flicked sideways. Something was off. "You home alone?" "Yeah," she said even faster. "It's fine. I'm big now." And then she did it. She tapped her cheek. 3 times. Tiny little motion. But I froze. It was a signal, one we made up ages ago when we used to play spies. I think she was 7. It meant, I'm in trouble. Save me. It had been a game. Back then. Now. Not anymore. The moment she did it, my whole body locked up. Was it a coincidence? "You sure everything's okay?" "Yes, Mommy. It's fine." And then again. That same tap. And one more at the end of the call, right before she smiled and said, "Good night." That stupid little gesture. The clearest message I've ever gotten in my life. My brain flipped straight into siren mode. I called him my husband. No answer. Then he declined. Then straight to voicemail. I texted. Nothing. I was already throwing on clothes, sneakers with no socks, jacket half-zipped. My mom lay on the bed in the clinic room, staring at me like I was abandoning her on her deathbed. "I have to go. I'll call. Don't worry." It took me 3.5 hours to get home. I drove like a fugitive. Ran every scenario in my head on repeat. What happened? Did he yell at her? Did he hit her? Is there someone else in the house? Is she sick? Hurt? Is it him? I hovered over 911 more than once. Fingers on the screen. But I didn't press it. I was scared of looking crazy. Scared they wouldn't take me seriously. Scared I was wrong. Scared I wasn't. Somewhere around the halfway point, I called my neighbor Linda. I didn't give her details, just said, "Hey, can you please check in on Ellie? Just knock on the door. Make sure she's okay." She didn't ask questions. 20 minutes later, she called me back. "She's home." Opened the door herself. Said everything was fine, then closed it. Fast. Didn't give me a chance to say much. Then she added, she was polite. Too polite. Like, I was interrupting something. I thanked her and stepped on the gas. Part of me tried to rationalize. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe Ellie just missed me. But deep in my gut, this wasn't intuition, it was pure instinct. I knew better. I didn't know what she'd seen, or who she was scared of. But she sent the signal. And I'm her mother. That's all I needed. When I got home, the front door wasn't locked. Ellie was sitting on the couch. Next to him. Chad. Calm on the outside, but in his eyes something flickered. Surprise. Annoyance. Fear, maybe. "You're back," he said, stiff smile plastered on. "Didn't expect you till tomorrow." "Changed my mind," I said, gripping the doorknob like it was the only thing holding me upright. "Mom's doing better. She doesn't really need me there." He nodded like it was no big deal and walked into the kitchen. Started rambling about traffic, a news story, some dumb joke he heard on the radio. But his hands were jittery. Voice kept wobbling. Up, down, up again. I sat next to Ellie. She didn't say a word, just wrapped her arms around me and held on. Tight. I stroked her back. She was shaking, not from crying, from holding it in, like her whole body was one giant nerve ending. I called you, I said, eyes on Chad. You declined. Then your phone was off. Why? Oh yeah, sorry, he said quickly, waving a hand. Battery died. Left the charger in the car. Bull. He never forgot chargers. He's the kind of guy who carries a backup battery for his backup battery. I stood up and scanned the hallway. There it was. His duffel bag. The same one he showed up with after prison. Mostly packed. I went to the bedroom. Closet half empty. No jacket. No shirts. No jeans. He was leaving. Tonight. And he was going to leave Ellie alone. I didn't say anything. Just went back to the living room and sat down next to my daughter. Chad was making tea in the kitchen. Still playing house. Everything around us looked normal, but it felt wrong. All of it. Like someone had built a set designed to look like family, and cast Chad in the role of loving husband, just long enough to fool the audience. I took Ellie's hand. Didn't let go. Watched him. Didn't blink. He noticed. Paused. Then started talking again, too cheerfully, too fast. That fake chipper tone people use when they're hiding something ugly behind the curtain. You going somewhere? I asked, nodding at the duffel. He glanced at it, then flashed that casual smile, the one that had conned me before. Oh yeah, just a quick trip. Nothing big. I'll explain later. Later. Sure. Probably over collect calls from county jail. Something was wrong. I could feel it crawling up my spine now. And Ellie, she knew something. Heard something. She was scared. Maybe she saw something she wasn't supposed to. Then it hit me. What if someone else was in the house? I stood up and walked through the rooms. Casually. Quietly. Empty. Thank God. But the feeling didn't go away. The danger wasn't gone. Not yet. Soon I'd talk to Ellie. Get the truth. Just needed to do it where Chad couldn't hear. He had a plan. And me coming home early had thrown a wrench in it. Well, guess I'd just have to finish the job and break the whole thing apart. If someone had told me 10 years ago that I'd be staring into my husband's eyes, trying to figure out how he hurt our daughter, I'd have laughed. Back then, I still believed in good people. And in the whole love conquers all thing. Yeah, sweet summer child. I'm Camilla. Suburban mom, remote worker, maker of better coffee than 90% of places within a 10-mile radius. And my lifelong talent? Being understanding. Capital U. Understanding wife. Understanding mother. A good girl who was easier to love when she made everyone else comfortable. Except herself. I met Chad at a friend's party. He was the guy who knew just how to toss out a clever joke without sounding like a jerk, and who held a beer like it was a mic. I thought he was smart. Or at least charming. We dated. Got married a year later. Ellie was born the year after that. There were breakfast pancakes, sleepless nights, baby puke, arguments over diapers, that constant "are we doing this right?" panic, and somewhere in the middle of all that, warmth. Real warmth. It existed. Once. And then 3 guys in uniform showed up at our house. With a warrant. Right in front of Ellie. At first, I thought it was some awful mistake. Then a prank. But when Chad wouldn't meet my eyes, everything snapped into place. He wasn't caught robbing a bank with a ski mask and shotgun, thank God. No, he was the getaway driver. Jewelry store. Middle of the night. They smashed the cases, grabbed thousands in merch, and peeled out. Chad drove. He knew. He didn't break glass or wave a weapon, but he knew what he was doing. He got caught first. Rolled over on everyone. Took a plea deal. 3 years instead of 12. First offense. Full confession. Model prisoner. Blah blah blah. Served 2 years of shame. Lawyer meetings. Explaining things to neighbors through clenched teeth. Oh, he's away for work. Thanks for that, Chad. I almost divorced him. I got as far as the door. And then Ellie got sick, 104 fever, miserable and clingy, and I couldn't pull the trigger. Then time just passed. He started writing. Calling. Saying he was sorry. That he'd changed. That Ellie was his whole world now. And he wanted to be a real dad. I heard it in his voice, this tired, broken-down quality. Like he meant it. Or maybe I just heard what I wanted to. When he got out, I picked him up. He walked out with one bag, and this ramrod posture like he didn't know how to exist outside concrete walls. He hugged Ellie, smiled at me. I'm a different man, Cam. I'll make it right. He got a job at a warehouse. Lifting boxes. At home, he did the dishes. Read bedtime stories. Brought me flowers. Ellie was over the moon. She's a kid. Kids forgive so easily. Me. I took longer. But I did start to believe just a little. Thing is, anxiety doesn't disappear, it just goes quiet for a while. Then it creeps back in. First the little signs. He got short-tempered. Like scary fast. Someone cut him off in traffic. He raged like they ran over our dog. Ellie broke a mug, he snapped. Then went quiet for half an hour. Sat there staring at nothing like he was holding something in with both fists. He started going out more. Just grabbing a beer with the guys. If I asked who, he got defensive. Accused me of not trusting him. You know, this is why couples fall apart, Camilla. Then the phone calls. He'd step into another room. Lower his voice. If I walked by, he'd glance over his shoulder like a teenager up to no good. Once, I heard a woman's voice on the line. Work call, he said. I nodded. Smiled. Then stood in the shower until the water turned cold. Later, I saw him delete a message as soon as he read it. Said it was a coworker bugging him. Same with the next one. And the one after that. All coworkers. All annoying, apparently. Ellie would try to talk to him sometimes. He'd stare at the TV, not even blink. Then, like a switch flipped, he'd suddenly remember he was supposed to parent and start overcompensating. He began asking weird questions. About my mom. What she did all day. If she was home a lot. Where she kept important stuff. One day he casually asked if her documents were stored securely. I joked. He didn't laugh. Then Ellie told me offhand. Dad asked if Grandma has a safe. I paused. What did you say? I said I didn't know. Just a normal kid comment. At the time. Now it's all falling into place. The irritability. The secrets. The strange looks. All the things I brushed off because I was too tired to live in fear anymore. And still, I left her with him. Because he was her dad. Because he smiled. Because I wanted so badly to believe he was better. But now I know. When someone says, I've changed, you don't listen to the words. You watch the pauses. You watch the eyes. You watch the hands. That's where the truth lives. And back then, it was already starting to show. But I wasn't ready to admit it. Not yet. People love calling it mother's intuition, like it's some kind of soft, sparkly superpower. Let me tell you, it's not a gift. It's a curse. It's not some gentle whisper. It's a siren in your brain that won't shut up. Especially when you're still trying to convince yourself everything's fine and absolutely nothing is fine. I sat at the edge of Ellie's bed, watching her hide under the covers like cotton could protect her from what she'd heard. She was quiet for a long time. I kept stroking her hair, murmuring whatever calming nonsense came to mind. And finally, when I said, You're safe. I promise, she spoke, whispering, like the walls were still listening. During the day, Dad was talking to a man and a woman in the kitchen. I heard them. I just wanted to get an apple. What did you hear, sweetheart? She swallowed. Dad said Grandma's house was empty, that she left with you. And then he told them where Grandma keeps her safe. I felt something cold settle under my ribs. They argued a little about which car to take and how to park near the house. The man was loud, yelling, and the lady said, Quiet. The kid will hear. And there it was. The moment everything I'd been afraid of stopped being a theory and became evidence. Then they saw me standing there, Ellie whispered. The man said, What do we do with her? She saw us. Dad looked at me, and his face, he wasn't angry. He was empty. Cold. Like I was nobody. He asked, What do you want? She paused. Like she needed to steel herself to finish. I said I was just getting water. He nodded. I went to the sink. They all got quiet. I drank, but it felt stuck in my throat. Then I walked out. Slow. Tried not to shake. Behind me, I heard him say, Relax. We're leaving tomorrow anyway. She won't figure it out in time. We'll be long gone. I pulled her into me. She was trembling. Or maybe I was. Later the woman came into my room, Ellie said. She said phones are bad for your eyes. She took mine. Then she sat next to me the whole time. Wouldn't even let me go to the bathroom alone. Of course she wouldn't. Because she wasn't keeping her company. She was a babysitter with orders. Then Dad and the man left. Dad said he had a dentist appointment. The woman said she was his co-worker and she'd stay with me. She paused, then added with absolute certainty. She wasn't his co-worker. They hugged. I saw it. And there it was again, that old familiar snap of fury in my jaw. When you called, she said. The woman stared at the screen for a long time. I thought she wouldn't let me answer. Then she said, Don't tell your mom about me. She'll get jealous. She blinked, and her voice got smaller. I was scared. But then I remembered that game we used to play, where tapping your cheek meant save me. And I hoped you'd remember too. So I did it. You got it, Mom. You came. She wrapped her arms around me so tight I could barely breathe. I kissed the top of her head and held her like she might disappear. I'm so proud of you, I whispered. Thank you for telling me. She nodded, eyes shiny but dry. 9 years old. And already too grown. I stepped out of her room and leaned against the wall. My heart was pounding like it had its own emergency broadcast system. I had to process. Except, my husband had planned to rob my mother. He left our daughter with his accomplice. This wasn't impulsive. This was orchestrated. And then, like a sick punch to the gut, I remembered telling him, years ago, way before prison, about my mom's necklace. A family heirloom, passed down through generations. Not in a bank, because Mom liked to take it out and look at it sometimes. It felt sweet and sentimental at the time. Now, it read like a damn heist briefing. And he remembered. He remembered all of it. I grabbed my phone and called 911. My voice shook, but I got the words out. He's here. In the house. We're not safe. The dispatcher said officers were already on their way. I hung up. And that's when I realized just how scared I was. Not for the necklace. For Ellie. For me. I was in a house with a man who had worn my husband's face as a disguise. The soft words, the second chances, the "I've changed," all just costume. Underneath? Theft. Deceit. And that calculating, predatory stare Ellie had described. And then the front door opened. He stepped inside like he'd just gone out for milk. His bag, the one he always had, was gone. Packed. Loaded. Probably already in the car. He looked at me like nothing was wrong. Everything okay? His voice was hoarse. I just wanted to say goodnight to Ellie. I stood still, barely breathing. She's not feeling great, I said, voice calm. Already put her to bed. Good night, Chad. He was staring at me. Really staring. Like he was running some calculation in his head. His eyes flicked from my face, to the phone clutched in my hand, to Ellie's half-open bedroom door. And suddenly I was sweating cold. What was he going to do? What would I do if he lunged at me? He had to know I'd figured it out. That Ellie had told me. That I'd called the cops. He licked his lips fast. Looked toward the front door. Back at me. And then his eyes dropped. I should go, he muttered. Didn't mean to be in the way. His voice was soft now. Eyes darting again toward the hallway. Wait, I said. There's something wrong with the faucet in the bathroom. Water's gushing. He blinked. Gushing? Yeah, like full-on flood mode. I think we're about to drown the neighbors. Can you check? I said it casually. Even smiled. My knees were shaking so hard I could barely walk, but I kept my tone light. Like this was just another Thursday night chore. He hesitated, and then followed. Slowly, but without suspicion. I guess the ordinariness of the request calmed him. He stepped into the bathroom first. Bent over the sink. And I slammed the door behind him. Click. Turned the lock. That old, crappy bathroom lock I'd always meant to replace suddenly felt like the most important piece of hardware in my entire life. Hey! His voice behind the door was sharp. What the hell are you doing? Camilla. I didn't answer. I just backed up, pressed my spine to the wall, and tried to breathe through the adrenaline rush. He pounded on the door. Not hard at first. Like he didn't get it yet. Then harder. Louder. You've lost your mind. Open the door. I stayed silent. In my head, one thought played on repeat. Please hurry. Please be close. I had no idea where the cops were. Maybe down the block. Maybe still lost. Maybe not coming at all. But I knew one thing for sure. I couldn't let him walk out that door. Not with the jewelry. Not with my mom's stolen heirloom. Not with his mistress. And definitely not with that smug, I got away with it expression. He rattled the knob, hard. Again. Again. The door creaked but held. Old warped wood, swollen from years of humidity. Thank God for structural dysfunction. Camilla. I swear to God, open this door. Something crashed on the other side. A bottle? A shelf? I didn't care. My hands were shaking. My whole body buzzed with fear and rage. This wasn't a vault. It was a hollow-core bathroom door. It could give at any moment. Chad, just wait, I said. My voice cracked. The handle stopped rattling. What? The cops are on their way, I said. Quiet. Almost a whisper. So maybe stop. Another bang from inside. Louder. He'd kicked something. Or punched it. Maybe both. I pressed my back harder into the wall, eyes fixed on the hallway. Please hold. Just another minute. Don't find the hinges. Don't kick it in. Just hold. You called the cops? His voice was incredulous. Furious. What the hell is wrong with you? No. I hissed, stepping toward the door. What the hell is wrong with you? You robbed my mom. You brought strangers, criminals, into our house. You left our daughter alone with a stranger. And I'm the crazy one. Silence. Heavy, echoing silence. Then finally, so soft I barely caught it, he muttered. I didn't mean to. Oh, really? I snapped. Then what did you mean to do, Chad? Walk me through it. Please. I'm dying to hear your logic. No answer. And then outside, sirens. Wailing. Getting closer. They were here. I stepped away from the door, legs shaky, breath stuck somewhere in my throat. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like it was going to crack through my ribs. It wasn't just fear. It was rage. White-hot, sharp-edged fury. For Ellie. For me. For the version of me who once believed this man deserved a second chance. I never thought I'd say this, but the sound of police sirens? Most beautiful thing I've ever heard. Especially when there's a man locked in my bathroom. One who once promised to be my rock and somehow morphed into a threat. They came in fast. Calm. Efficient. No drama, no shouting. Like something out of a movie, just minus the slow mo and inspirational soundtrack. One officer pulled Ellie aside. Another locked eyes with me and asked, "Where is he?" I pointed toward the bathroom. They got him out. Still yelling, still denying, still trying to spin himself into the victim. Weird thing is, I didn't even feel angry anymore. Just done. Numb. Like everything was happening behind glass, and I was watching it through fog. They found the bag, of course. Chad tried to claim it was just his stuff. But his stuff jingled. And sparkled. My mom's earrings. Her bracelet. And then the cop unzipped a pocket. And there it was. The necklace. The one my mom would only bring out once a year, like it was a holy relic. She used to say, "One day you'll pass this on to your daughter. When you know she's ready." I was ready. Chad just thought it was a nice score. Part of the stolen jewelry was in his car. Another part? With his buddy. And the rest? With his co-worker. The one who babysat Ellie like a creep. The police stayed until morning. I gave my statement. So did Ellie. She told them everything calmly. More calmly than I did, honestly. 9 years old. Steel in her spine. I don't know where she got that strength from. Maybe because she knew I was right there, and not going anywhere. First thing I did the next morning? Called my mom. She picked up immediately. I just said, "Are you sitting down?" Then I told her everything. She was quiet at first. Then she said, "You did the right thing." Her voice was steady, but I could hear the tremble. Later that day, we got the update. Chad's girlfriend had been arrested. They found my mom's stuff in her bag. She, of course, denied everything. And had no real explanation for why she was in my house, with my child. His accomplice was picked up not long after. Cameras at my mom's house caught them breaking in, back entrance, lock picks, the whole deal. There's even footage of them leaving. Not crystal clear, but good enough. You can see their faces. The way they move. Their stupid matching hoodies. The cops said the case was basically gift-wrapped. Evidence for days. Chad was hit with multiple charges: conspiracy, theft, possession of stolen property. And, my personal favorite, child endangerment. Because yes, leaving your daughter with criminals while you go rob your mother-in-law? That is a felony, thank you very much. I filed for divorce immediately. No second thoughts. No, let's talk. Just the paperwork, the protection order, the legal firewalls. Even if he somehow walks free early, he's not coming near us. Not me. Not Ellie. Not my mom. He doesn't get to cross that line ever again. Then I filed for full custody. Got it fast. The judge barely blinked. Chad tried to file a counterclaim, said he wanted to stay involved. That he was being lied about. His lawyer took one look at the evidence and basically said, "You want to try this in court? Seriously?" He didn't. Then came the final hearing. No dramatic outfit. No black dress. Just me in a simple skirt, a plain button-down, and a file full of receipts. Ellie sat next to me, wearing a light blue dress, holding my hand. While we waited in the hallway, she looked up and asked, "What happens after this?" And I said, "After this? We're gonna be okay. Chad got 7 years. He'll probably serve 5 if he behaves. No chance of early release. His buddy? 6 years. The guy had a voice like a used car dealer, and a face you forget 2 seconds later. The girlfriend? 2 years probation and 5 years of supervised release. She didn't actually participate in the robbery, but she did lie to the cops and keep my kid prisoner. The look on her face in court was a whole movie, offended, confused, like she was the one who'd been betrayed. Why is everyone mad? I was just babysitting. Right. When the judge read the decision, I didn't even look at Chad. I looked at Ellie. She sat still. No fear. No shrinking. Just quietly steady. We walked out of that courtroom, and she turned to me with the smallest smile. Not big. Not flashy. Just this calm little curve on her lips. I bent down and she whispered, "I knew you'd save us." I shook my head. "No, baby. You saved us. You and your little cheek tap. You were braver than every adult in this story." She nodded. Proud. Still a little broken inside, maybe, but not scared. Not anymore. He came back thinking he'd pull off a clean job. That I'd fall for the flowers, the dishes, the fake smiles. That he could take what he wanted and disappear. But my daughter? My girl ruined his whole script. And I will never, ever mistake a smile for the truth again. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you. Seriously. I know this wasn't an easy ride. Sometimes I still replay it all in my head, wondering if I did the right thing. If I moved fast enough. If I missed something. What would you have done? Would you have handled it differently? Drop a comment. I'd genuinely love to know. No sarcasm, I promise. And hey, if this story hit something in you, feel free to follow the channel. Because sometimes, someone else's mess isn't just drama to scroll past. Sometimes it's a warning, or a lifeline, or just a reminder that you're not alone. Thanks for sticking with me.